and later Dodger Theatrical. So I was sort of the Dutch Dodger, and we worked, for 7 years. Did 17 different productions. First time in 55 years that the owners of the rights, which is the Anne Frank Foundation, which was founded by the father of Anne Frank, Otto Frank, has allowed to create a new theater play based on the original diaries, and not only the original diaries, but basically everything she wrote. I think what's really different when you take into account that you have access to everything she wrote, is that you get to know her a lot better, and she talks about a lot of things that concern teenagers that were basically edited out by her father when the first book was published. Jessica Durlach and Leon de Winter, who are highly acclaimed writers in the Netherlands. And when they approved the script after a few years of work, they wanted to create a new production that was really geared towards a younger audience. For the next generation, it's further away because there's no more survivors that tell the story. When we went into the casting process, the director, Teu Boermans, who's also the artistic director of the National Theatre, prefer to cast outside celebrities because it helps for the audience to identify more with the character. Our director really wanted to cast the characters pretty close to the original people, also in the way they looked, how close we got. It was like it fell into place. We found these great actors, and they really looked alike, much like the originals. We wanted to create the world she lived in real size. So we built the whole house, for instance. Not only that, we found a way that you could look in every room, so the house rotates and lowers and goes up and down, so you could always see the relationship between all the people that lived in the house. It's performed in the Dutch language, and what we've done to enable an international audience to witness the production is we invented a new form of a translation system. So we created a system that is in multiple languages. Right now it's in 7 languages. And what it is, it's a tablet that allows you to read a synopsis. You can read the subtitles of the actual play, but you can also use audio and hear the text being performed, for instance in English by the original cast, while it's being played in front of your eyes. One of the co-producers is the National Theatre. It's the first time actually in our country that a subsidized theatre became part of a commercial production. And Frank Fond, the foundation, brought in UNICEF as the charity organization related to the rights for children, which totally connects, of course, to our subject matter. And what we've learned is that teenagers react the most, become the most involved in the story. We have interest from various Broadway producers to do a proscenium version of the play we did. But there's also interest in doing the whole thing, is to build a space maybe just outside New York that can house our production. I think you can tell this story in many ways, the hyper-realism. But you could tell the same story in an abstract way, in a much more theatrical way. So we're sort of reinventing our journey. Once we come to New York, we start from zero. We look at everything, and we carefully start casting with a blank page. We probably go with unknown people that we believe in, and see if we can form a similar kind of cast like we did in Amsterdam. What the mission statement of my company is called Imagination, is to create a new relationship between the audience and a production. We've also created in the Netherlands, it's a system called Scene Around, where the audience
Mm-hmm.
is basically in an auditorium, but the auditorium revolves around. And stage around, which is a system I developed for Anne, is again a different system. So in which we lose the proscenium, the conventional proscenium, as the normal storytelling tool. And that's exciting because in a way we had no choice than to find a way to build a theater, because if you want to do something substantial, and that's what everybody wanted, to reach a new generation, you need to build it from scratch. A design from Yola and Nash that is we all loved because it's very simple. We found one of the only skyscrapers in Amsterdam, and we created probably the biggest theatrical poster in the history. We're still checking if it's a record.